to take this moment and say thank you so much for your support. My last 2 videos have lots more views than I thought they would at this point, and I'm obsessed with everybody's comments. Comments make me very happy and I read all of them. So I wanted to thank you so much for your feedback, and keep commenting and I will try to respond to any. This is a whole new experiment for me. This is not natural for me to be on camera, so I'm working on eye contact and all of that because I want to connect with you and show you my love of vintage and decor. I am also trying to think of fun videos, so if you have any video suggestions, please let me know in the comments. This video is going to be an apartment tour. Over the past 2 videos, I've told you guys that I have an apartment, which is here. This is my guest room actually. It used to be my roommate's room, but I converted it into a guest room this year, and it's filled with most of my vintage stuff, but I've decorated my entire apartment with both new and vintage, and I feel like it really melts together, but it's hard to explain without showing you guys. So that's what this video is all about, and I'm planning on taking you through each room and then explaining what's vintage, how I styled, like what my thought process was, and how it developed over time, because I've lived in this apartment, I would say 3 or 4 years now. I love this apartment so much, and it is just my happy place, and part of my love is to design it and change it and add to it and just watch it evolve. And a special thing about this apartment tour is that something you should know about me, first of all, is that my favorite holiday of all time is Christmas. So every Christmas I take the opportunity to kind of go crazy and decorate my apartment as like my dream Christmas apartment. And this year I went a little extra crazy. I just love what I did with it, and so I want to share it with everybody, even though yes, I know it is January. My excuse is calling it like winter decor. Yes, I actually still have my Christmas tree up, but it's fake, so it's not gonna like go bad, and it's little and I'm obsessed with it. Another thing about my apartment is that it is pretty small, as you might see, and so the storage options are pretty low, and so I have to get very strategic when it comes to storage. So that's partly why I still have all my Christmas stuff up. But I thought this would be a great chance to show you all my Christmas/winter decor, because I didn't have this channel when I was decorating it. That would have been pretty cool, but you know, life is life. I got this camera for Christmas. I thought I would take this chance to show you, and hopefully I don't get judged too much for having it all up yet. I mean, up still. So let's get into the video. Okay, so you come into the living room, and here's the front door. I got the garland from Target, and I got the wreath from Target, but then I decorated it myself. It was like a plain wreath, and I decorated it with little items from Michael's, but the bells are actually from Etsy. They're little vintage bells, and I've decorated lots of greenery in my apartment with those bells. So next, as you walk into the door, there is a coat rack, and for Christmas I decorated it with some of my nutcrackers along with an embroidery piece I did. I've gotten really into embroidery this year, and for Christmas I gave everybody in my family some embroidery, so that was really nice, and there's more around the apartment, so I will show you those once they pop up. By the front door you can see the couch and the gallery wall, the first gallery wall that I will walk you through. So this is a frame from Etsy here, and I have an art print in the frame. Usually there's a different one in here, but I switched it out for Christmas. Same with this. This is also an Etsy frame, but I got a print for it. I like gold frames that look vintage, but it's hard to find gold frames, so I got some off of Etsy that look vintage, but they are new. Part of what I love about frames and prints and things is that they're perfect things to get when you travel. For example, when I was in Ireland with my family, I got this print, and it says the Irish Yeast Company, which I love because I'm a baker, so anything to do with yeast I'm kind of obsessed with. So I got that, and then I got the frame from Etsy. And then coming up here, this little etching I got in Florence when I went there with my gram, and again I got the frame from Etsy. This is another print I got in Ireland. Again, the frame is from Etsy. But then moving down here, this is a frame I got from the store I took you to last week, and I touched up the gold on the rim and added a framing mechanism to the back, cleaned it really well, and then I ordered a print that looks like a marsh because my gram actually lives in South Carolina surrounded by marsh. So I got that as a little homage to her. Same with this little card. It's actually of her house, and then this is my house. I got a Vermont artist to draw my house in Ohio. And then moving up here, I got this frame from, I think it was either a vintage store or like Goodwill, so I think I thrifted it. But then I ordered a print for the frame. This is a vintage frame and painting, and I got it at the store I went to last week with you guys. And then the spoon and this little spatula I got at a Vermont farmer's market, and they were both made by a Vermont artisan. So it took me a while to collect all these pieces and to actually hang them up, but now that they're hung up, I love it so much, and I added some pine to make it more wintry. The next thing I want to show you is my first sconce, and you see it right as you walk in the door, and it is a vintage 3-candle sconce. These are battery operated candles I got from Amazon, and then I found this fake garland that looks pretty real, and it has pine cones in it, and then I added more of these bells and added a bow. Once you're in the living room, I have a record player here with a whole bunch of records, plus when you walk in the door there's another vintage stand that I also have more records in. And I have a little bar cart here with more Christmas items and my KitchenAid mixer. This is a vintage mirror I got off of Etsy, and it is beautiful gold ornate frame with detailing on the mirror. It is absolutely gorgeous. It's the perfect size and great for photos. Here I am. Hello. So for Christmas, I added some pine to the top plus a bow. The detailing on the top here is also so beautiful. So that is definitely my favorite mirror I have in my apartment. And then here's my bedroom. And then on the other side of the mirror is my guest room. But first I want to show you the kitchen. So now I'm standing by the couch, and I wanted to show you my kitchen. I love my little kitchen. It took a while to get used to, but it is perfect for me, and I love how I've decorated it. So on this side I have a stool so I can reach the top shelves, but I have a whole bunch of vintage copper pans and ramekins and pots. Not pots, just pans. But I've gotten these from vintage places around Vermont, and I love them so much, and they add a perfect touch. And I have more hanging over by my sink. So then here I have a cutting board made in Vermont, and then for Christmas I surrounded the window in the kitchen with a simple garland just to add a little bit of difference between my normal decor. And then on my flowers that I usually have on my island, I added a little bow, and I have gingerbread house salt and pepper shakers, which are just a little detail that I love. Then here I have framed cards I got from a bakery in California, but I got these frames for them off of Etsy. And then here's the colander I said I had. So it is hanging in my kitchen. And then I have a bigger pot here, along with a bundt jello mold kind of thing here, hanging above my sink. And then next to my air fryer, I have these 3 little baby paintings of food I got at the vintage store I took you to in the first video. And another little mini copper pot I got from a vintage barn sale a couple of weeks ago. For Christmas, on my cabinets, I got 2 wreaths from Trader Joe's and hung them on ribbon I got from Michael's, I think, and then hung those out. So those are definitely dried out, but they're still very pretty. And then I have a fake little garland that I've embellished with pine cones and berries and a bow. So that's above my bathroom. And then the garland draping like here is actually from Mexico that I got on spring break one year. And then here is my little baby oven. It's super cute. It actually works, surprisingly. And I have a copper tea kettle I got at the first vintage place I took you to a year or two ago. And then I have a little mini Le Creuset pot, and I don't use the teapot, it's just there for decoration. So here's the view of my living room from my kitchen. There's the gallery wall again, and then the next room I will take you into is my bedroom. So here's my bedroom. I love my bedroom. It is super cozy and extra Christmas crazy, as I like to call it. So this is on the door to my bedroom and the door to the guest room, and it is just a big greenery piece that I put bells on, I put berries in, I put extra pine cones and a bow. So I took a plain piece and turned it into something that is more my style, but it's definitely more of a classic Christmas style. And that's kind of what I'm going for, as you can see. And then once you're in my door, you can see that I have two vintage sconces next to my mirror with more greenery and bows. I changed this print out that's in this frame, again from Etsy. I'll leave where I get my prints down below. They look so real. I got this Christmas tree one, but usually I have a flower one here, but for Christmas, obviously I had to do the Christmas tree. And then I have a bulletin board with postcards that my gram has written to me. Here's my bed. And this Christmas I got this throw. I didn't want to get a whole new comforter because I don't have room for that, but I wanted to make it extra Christmassy, so I put the throw on and it adds that perfect pop of green. I got this pillow from Target a couple of years ago, and I also got these flannel sheets here, also from Target this year. I used to have a tapestry when I first moved in of an old map of Paris, but my style has evolved to a different space where I am definitely more into frames and vintage styled items. So I got this giant frame off of Etsy, and it is absolutely beautiful and detailed, and I wish I could have found an affordable frame for this size that is truly vintage, but I could not, so I compromised and got a vintage styled frame. Plus, again, this is a print from Etsy I downloaded and then printed it from the place I've linked down below. These I did get at a vintage store. They're little brass pots, and I added bows for Christmas. And I have a light I got from Amazon. Another thing I did this Christmas was I added these paper snowflakes and lights on my windows so that I could have some Christmas decor you can see from outside. So I did that, and I love them so much. Another thing I have in my bedroom is this set of 3 little bookshelves, and every season I kind of decorate them differently. And this season I added more greenery and draped the greenery along with this little garland I got from Mexico, and it's actually lit up, which is really pretty at night. I have a little stocking here and houses that I got from a cute store here in Vermont that actually light up. And all of these books I got at a vintage store, and I have a lot of them. They add a lot of character. This is a print I got from the same place I get prints from, but this is a frame I found at Goodwill, and then I painted it gold with Rub and Buff, and I have more candlesticks that I've gotten all from vintage places. This is like a gold horn, and this is a little candelabra. Here, let me move this deer so you can see. And it has a bell on it. I love decorating these shelves. They add a lot of character to my room and visual interest. So the next room I'm going to take you to is my guest room. I love these so much, and I added a little bit of greenery, a horn I got at a vintage store in town, and a little bow. You walk into the doorway. There is another gallery wall with a mirror. This is still a work in progress. I like adding to this one. Like, here's that print or that painting I got the other day, so I hung that there in a little gap, and I have a couple of plates hanging. Then this is another embroidery project I did this year. This is a print and a frame I got from Home Goods, actually, and I got this piece when I was in Iceland, and the frame is from Etsy. I got this at a vintage store in southern Vermont. This is from a vintage store, the first vintage store I took you to in my first video. This is from the vintage store I took you to in my second video. I forget what this one's from, but it's of an old street in Dublin. Oh, I got this mirror from a flea market here in Vermont for like 30 bucks. As you walk into the room, this little chair actually folds out, and I can put an air mattress on it, so when guests come, they can stay in here and have an actual comfy bed. This is actually a funny story. So as I've said in this video, I'm a baker, and my dream has always been to have a bakery. So this is actually a drawing I did of my future bakery when I was in 5th grade, I think. So for my graduation, my gram framed it for me. This is where most of my vintage stuff lies. I love these shelves. I got them on Wayfair, actually, but I wanted a simple, like, modern looking shelf, but it wasn't like super harsh to look at, so I liked the faux wood look. So these are all vintage here. Like, these are things I've collected over time. I have cake stands I've gotten from around town. These I actually got in Montreal. Here's most of my glassware. I have a lot of it, as I have said before. Another little embroidery project back there. And I have a fridge for my sourdough starter, plus more vintage and thrifted teacups and transferware and plates and more cake stands and vases and candlesticks. So I have a lot. This is all just the ones I display. I have more actually in this closet here. Here's my third gallery wall. I love how it came out. I've kind of collected these pieces over time. This is the frame I got in the first video. This middle one I got when I was in Montreal. It's an oil painting of a windmill, but I just thought the shape of the frame was super unique, and I don't see a lot of those, so I got that. This is from a vintage like furniture kind of store next to my work. This is another embroidery piece I did for Christmas. I got this plate at a flea market. The last room I'm going to show you is the bathroom. These are two pieces I got from two different vintage stores, and this one came in this frame, and then this is an etching of Montreal, and I got this frame to match this frame. Then I have my shower here with a shower curtain I got from Pottery Barn, and then you walk into the bathroom through this crazy weird gap. So this I got at the first vintage store I took you to, and I didn't change anything about it. When I found it, I was like obsessed. So I hung that here. I have a little poinsettia, and then over here by my towels, I have another print, and then I have a Merry Christmas towel from a vintage store. And so then you walk out into the kitchen. There's the guest room, bedroom, and the couch. That was a little tour of my apartment. It's kind of hard to capture it on camera. I'm still learning how to maneuver the camera and really make it flow nicely, so I thank you again for having patience with me. I hope this all made sense, but if you have any questions for me, please leave them in the comments. I will try to link anything I can, especially the place where I get all of my prints, because I love them and they do such a great job. Like I said, I got a lot of my frames on Etsy. They have a ton of options, and I have just spent hours and hours on Etsy trying to find things from small businesses that look vintage without that price, or because I live in Vermont, there's not a ton of options for vintage stores here, and it's hard to go into a vintage store looking for something in particular. Like, a lot of the times, the best times I've gone and found things that I love is when I had zero expectations of what I was going to find. I feel like that's also a big factor. So a lot of the times I try to go in with an open mind, and if I am looking for something in particular, I just go on Etsy and try to find something that's a similar vibe to what I need. When I can find vintage frames and vintage pieces of art or vintage prints or anything, I try to get them if they go with my style. Next week I will try to post a video about my vintage items in particular, especially the ones I'm selling on Instagram, which is called Veeb's Vintage Finds. I have a list of things I have already on sale, but I will give you a video of more of a deep dive into all of the items so you guys can enjoy them as much as I do, and it will give me the opportunity to clear some space out so I can show you even more vintage shopping and get your input. So I hope that is a video you guys want, but I thank you again so much for your support. It has surprised me how many people have been commenting, and I love it so much. So please keep doing that, and I will try to come up with more videos and content for you guys to enjoy, and so I can take you along with me. But I really hope you enjoyed today's video, and I hope you guys come back for the next video. Bye guys.